Hey guys, welcome to the Sling Den, and today I'm going to be trying out the Bottleneck taper. Before I go ahead and make some cuts and get out to the field and do some testing, let's learn a little bit more about what a Bottleneck taper is. This is the Bottleneck taper template, and as you can see, it still has the same goal of starting at a certain width and ending with another. However, the difference, if we look at the conventional taper template, it starts off at a certain width and it gradually tapers down to your final width at the end to where you make the cut. And the difference here is you start off with a certain width and it remains that width for a period of time before transitioning in the middle of the band to a different width, which it remains for until you make the cut. Now, let's make a couple of cuts and we'll compare the bands side by side. So now we know a little bit more about the Bottleneck taper, it's time to cut some bands. For the Bottleneck taper, I'm going to be using this template here, which was kindly given to me by my good friend Aaron at Leighton Strods and Catties. For the regular taper, I'm going to be using this adjustable template ruler here, which is really handy for making up different kinds of tapers. The taper I'm going to be using today is a 2313. This isn't my usual go-to taper by any means. However, it should be fun and hopefully we can get some good results. With all that being said, let's get on with cutting some bands. Guys, before I tie these bands to the pouches, I thought I'd give you a side-by-side view so you can see the difference. They both do start at 23mm and end at 13mm, but as you can see, the way they get there is vastly different. They're both cut at 150mm, which is always nice because I get to make a cross cut. The band that I'll be using today is my go-to Scion Precise .55, as I'll be shooting the 8mm steels today. Now, with all that being said, let's get on. We'll tie these bands to the pouches and we'll go out and do some testing. Bands ready to go. Let's get out and do some shooting. Guys, here we are. I'm at my favorite spot and it's a beautiful day and I absolutely love shooting here. It's so quiet, it's nature at its finest, and I am ready to go. I've got my catch bag set up here, but before we dive into the testing, let's find out what frame I'm going to be using today. So guys, the frame that I'm going to be using today is the V2 Spitfire by Leighton's Catties. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I'm going to use this frame in particular. So guys, the first reason I like to use the V2 Spitfire when I do any sort of testing is because it's the most standardized Y-shaped frame in my collection. Now, as you can see there's no offset handle, there's no funky grips, and I always like that as a good benchmark for any sort of testing. The second reason is it's ultra durable. I'm not sure if you've seen Aaron's video where he shoots it 100 odd times with like 12mm steels and then he runs it over in his car and he still manages to attach some bands and shoot it absolutely perfectly. So durability is important. And the reason behind that is I like to take the side of caution when I do any sort of testing. I don't want to use one of my high-end frames or a frame that means a lot to me, just in case we have a little accident, like a fork hit as such. So far, we're so good. This thing is absolutely pristine. But like I said, if I did need to replace this thing, it really wouldn't be a problem at the price. Now, let's get on and do some testing. So guys, the first bit of testing I'm going to be doing today is accuracy. I'm also going to be low-key keeping tabs of how many shots I take with each band set and come back to you at the end of the video with the results of which band set broke first, just so we can find out a little bit more about the durability side of things when it comes to each tapered band. Now, accuracy can be really difficult to find out which one performs better than the other. In order to do that, we'd need to take thousands of shots and keep scores and all that sort of stuff. And to be honest with you, it's not really practical and it's damn right boring. So I'm not willing to do that today. But what I'm going to be looking for is a big jump. If I'm able to attach one band set and hit the target fairly consistently, get my eye in quickly, that'll tell me that that band set performs quite well for me. If I attach another band set and then find it really difficult to get my eye in, I'm not as consistent, I'll know there and then after a good maybe 100 shots or so that one band set is performing better than the other, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. If they both perform the same, happy days. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to take a couple of shots. I'm going to try and hit the 60, the 40, the 25, see how many shots it takes me to get my eye in and hit each of those targets. I'm then going to speed up the video, take a number of different shots, and I'll get back to you at the end of the fast forwarded video to let you know which one came out on top. Okay, let's go. Okay guys, the first taper I'm going to be using is the conventional taper, the one that you and I probably use most. Let's go ahead and find out how many shots we can hit the 60 with. Okay, so we've hit that first time. I'll go with a 40. Hit that first time. I'll go for the 25. Just to the left of it there. Second shot. There we go. So a 1 and 1 and a 2. So it's not too different to my usual taper in terms of my reference. Quite a good result there. I'm now going to fast forward the video, take a load of shots and see how I feel about the conventional taper at 2313. So guys, I'm actually really happy with how that just performed. It's not that much different to what I usually use in my 2014 conventional taper. The anchor's in the same place, the reference is in the same place, and I was fairly consistent considering it's the first time I've shot this taper. So yeah, big thumbs up. And the Bottleneck taper got a lot of work to do to make sure it keeps up with the conventional taper. Let's get it attached and we'll take some shots with the Bottleneck taper. Hey guys, now we're going to do the same thing with the Bottleneck taper. We're going to see how many shots it takes us to hit each target. Let's start off with the easy one, which is the 60. Now that I've said it's easy, it's probably not going to be easy. It's a nice whack. Let's move on to the 40. Just to the left there. Let's bring it in a little bit and we should be on the money. It's to the right. Okay, so it needs to be somewhere in between. This band does feel like it's got a little bit more tension to the, in comparison to the conventional. I will say that. There we go. Third try. Let's move on to 25. Ooh, just below it. Very close though. Second shot. There we go. All right, not too bad, not too bad. Like I said, I do feel like there's a little bit more resistance with this band in compared to the conventional. But again, I'm going to take a handful of shots, speed the video up, and we'll get back to you at the end. So guys, if I had to sum up accuracy, what I will say is I managed to hit the mark on all the targets fairly quickly with each tapered band set. However, in terms of consistency, I would have to give the nod to the conventional taper. Now, I do have a theory on why this may have been. As I mentioned while shooting the Bottleneck taper, it did feel like it had a bit more resistance, and it was feeling a bit more like a heavier band set. Now, I'm used to a lighter setup, and the conventional taper felt a little bit more to what I was used to, so it could just be that it fitted the needs and it fitted my shooting style a lot better. But look, we've got a lot more testing to do, there's a lot more to it, so let's get on with the next measure. After that, it's time to do the next round of testing, which is speed, and for that I'm going to need the chronograph. I'm going to take 10 shots with each band set and come out with the average speed of each one. I'm also looking for consistency, because in my opinion a consistent speed is a lot more important than a top speed. For this, I'm going to be doing it the proper way. I'm still going to be looking at hitting targets. I'm not drawing back as much as I can and releasing as quick as I can to get the best speed possible, because let's face it, it's pointless. You don't shoot like that, you don't aim like that, so what's the point in testing speed like that? Let's go ahead, take 10 shots with the reattached conventional taper. 272.2. 274. 269. 268.5. 260.6. Held on to that one a little bit longer than the others. 268.5. 265.9. 264.6. 265.8. 263. So it's quite off-putting when you're trying to shoot through that thing, but what we noticed there was consistency. It didn't go below 260 and it didn't go above 273. So for me, I'm really happy with that. Let's attach the Bottleneck and see what results we get from that. Okay, up next, we've got the Bottleneck taper. Let's fire a load of shots through and see what the results are. 277.4. 286.6. 273.5. 281.8. 282.5. 284.6. 277.6. 279.7. 284.7. So there's two very clear things here. The Bottleneck taper is a lot faster in terms of the speed. In terms of consistency, not so much. That would also explain the accuracy. Let's get the figures together and we'll talk a little bit more about the two. Guys, I've crunched the numbers and I've got the results. We've also got a lot to digest, so let's get into it. The conventional taper came in with an average speed of 268 feet per second, while the bottleneck taper came in with an average speed of 281 feet per second. Now this is impressive, considering the taper starts at the same width, ends at the same width, and the thickness of the band is exactly the same. So to get an extra 13 feet per second, yeah, that's pretty impressive. However, consistency. The consistency of speeds are vastly different. You would have seen this whilst I was taking the shots. The conventional taper was 266, 267, 268, 267, 266. They're all grouped together. The bottleneck taper, however, 284, 278, 281, 275, 283. It was jumping a little bit. And that does really matter when you're talking about things like consistency and accuracy, especially with those longer range shots, because believe you me, if you take a shot down range 20-25 meters, and one shot you're getting 275 feet per second, and the next shot you're getting 285 feet per second, they're not going to land in the same place. And for that reason, I'm going to have to give the nod yet again to the conventional taper. Guys, we've done the testing, we've got the results, and now I want to have some fun. Considering we were getting high speeds off the bottleneck taper, I did want to do something a bit more fun, so I've brought some things along with me today. I've got your regular can, which is all fizzed up and ready to explode, and then we've got some peeled tomato, or tomatoes as you say in the USA, which is the thicker can, and we're going to test out the penetration. What a good word, penetration. We're going to test that out in slow motion, so let's get on with it. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video as much as I have done making it. If you have done, make sure you give it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It's free, and trust me, it goes a long way. Helps me grow my channel, so make sure you're subscribed. If you've used the bottleneck taper, let me know in the comments below what you thought. Be interesting for me to find out what your view is. Anyway, I've got nothing more to say other than I'm off for a shoot. I hope you are too. I'll catch you in the next one. So guys, it's been a couple of days. I've done a load of testing. I must have thrown about 300 to 400 shots through each of the bands, and they're both firing strong. So in terms of durability, the 2313 taper has got a big thumbs up from me. I do want to say one thing about durability though. It is at the bottom of my priority list when it comes to choosing a band or choosing a taper. Whether I'm competition shooting, hunting, or just hitting cans, I'd rather go for ultra accuracy and ultra consistency over a band that lasts a little bit longer. I do want to say this too. This was my personal review, my personal testing done on the bottleneck taper. You may use it with your ammo, your band set, your taper, thickness, whatever, and get different results. But this was just a trial and error. Get out to the woods, do some testing, report my findings. So hopefully you don't hate on me too much for knocking the bottleneck taper and choosing the conventional taper as my go-to moving forward. Again, hope you've enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you soon.